Powerful insights often occur when you least expect them. On Transformative Leadership Conversations, they're at the heart of every episode. Hi, I'm your host, Winnie da Silva, and together we're exploring a spectrum of leadership themes through the compelling stories and insights of seasoned leaders and prominent experts. And in each episode, you'll walk away with inspiration, strategies, and tools to enhance your leadership, build effective teams, and lead thriving organizations. So September is traditionally the back to school month. And I've just returned from London yesterday to drop off my middle daughter, who is starting her freshman year abroad. So higher education has been on my mind lately, as we now have two daughters in college. It's also been hard to ignore that over the last several months, higher education has dominated the news, and not in a good way, which has gotten me thinking. Who are the leaders within higher education who are navigating this mess as they shepherd and steward higher education in this turbulent time in our country's history? Well, I wanted to find out. So we have not just two guests to help us with this meaty and important topic this month, but three. Yes, I'm adding another bonus episode who will share their own leadership journeys in higher education and what leaders in any industry can learn from them, because leadership in the business world is not getting any easier either. So before I introduce my guests this month, let's briefly cover some context and historical background, like I usually like to do. So students choose to pursue higher education, of course, to learn and to gain job skills. It's also one of the most pivotal moments in any young person's life: to expand their identity, to build their own community, to expand their freedom, and to make their own mistakes. Higher education is also a significant engine for building our future leadership bench in our country and in the wider world. It also plays a major role in developing innovations, new ideas, and critical scientific research. And in the past, the US has been a magnet for drawing in global talent. After World War II, this country invested heavily in higher education through the GI Bill and federal research funding. And starting in the 1950s, the US became the top global destination for higher education, traditionally hosting over 1 million international students every single year. And starting in the 1950s, the US became the top global destination for higher education, traditionally hosting over 1 million international students every single year. And many of the world's brightest have fueled the US leadership in science, technology, and medicine. International students have also traditionally contributed tens of billions into the US economy, and often stay to drive innovation in research, industry, and entrepreneurship. Over the last several decades, higher education has also struggled with a variety of challenges. Tuition, for example, has risen much faster than inflation, leaving many students with significant debt. Access to elite institutions is usually filled with students from higher income families. And there are also racial and socioeconomic disparities in admissions, retention, and graduation rates. In addition, universities are increasingly relying on the adjunct faculty, who often work without job security, benefits, or fair pay. And at research in universities, pressure to publish and secure grants often overshadows teaching quality and student experience. But recently, higher education has been on the firing line and undergoing significant pressures and forced changes in ways that are completely unprecedented. Before our eyes, higher education is being reshaped and possibly altered beyond recognition. These are just 4 examples I want to touch on of some of the major shock waves rocking higher education today since earlier this year, 2025. The first is proliferation of generative artificial intelligence. In November 2022, so just under 3 years ago at the time of this recording, ChatGPT was released into the world. In this incredibly short time, generative AI has embedded itself into nearly every aspect of our lives: education, work, our home life, and for some, even our intimate relationships. This rapid adoption raises a critical question for higher education. So, if AI can instantly mimic human thinking, writing, problem solving, and more. What does it mean for humans to learn and to think? Kind of a basic question. The value of education is about the struggle to analyze, to develop the discipline to think deeply, and to therefore be able to tap into our uniquely human ability to create. And if AI circumvents this, what is education for? And what do our people and our future leaders lose as we prepare for the future? So, number two, continuous school violence. The United States has faced what only can be called a numbingly tragic pandemic of school shootings that have traumatized children of every single age, from preschool to university. These acts of violence have communicated to entire generations of students that school may not be a safe place. Adding to this, protests on college campuses, while usually peaceful, are sometimes escalating into violence or being met with brutal force, further shaking the sense of safety and belonging within higher education. Number three, diminished healthy debate and freedom of ideas. There has been an erosion of open debate and freedom to express a variety of ideas and opinions within higher education. A survey in 2024 found that 91%, that's a very high number, of faculty agree that academic freedom is under threat. Students and faculty alike also report frequent self censorship. So now, when the exchange of ideas becomes constricted, whether by fear of backlash, political pressure, or campus culture, universities lose their ability to fulfill what should be their core mission. Because higher education at its best is not about promoting a single agenda, but about creating the conditions for rigorous, honest, and challenging debate and discussion. Number four, targeted political attacks. Starting earlier this year in 2025, higher education has become a political battleground like it never has before. Funding for critical scientific research has been threatened or completely erased, jeopardizing breakthroughs in medicine, climate change, and technology and beyond. Immigration policies have significantly reduced the ability of international students to study and work in the US. And politicians have also targeted diversity, equity, and inclusion programs with the intent to directly restrict and prescribe what can and cannot be taught in classrooms, turning higher education into culture war pawns. So, this not only diminishes our global standing, but it's also an erosion of public trust. I've included in the show notes some of the most thought provoking articles I read while preparing for this episode, pieces that shaped my thinking and may spark newer reflections for you as well. Okay, so faced with this onslaught of shockwaves, all eyes are on higher education leadership. I mean, right now it's on their shoulders to ultimately determine the fate of higher education during our lifetime. How will they respond and navigate these existential threats? And can their response to these challenges possibly even make higher education stronger than ever? I don't know. Now, I wish we could have these deep seated issues wrapped up neatly at the end of the series, but if not, probably not. My goal is for us all to gain some incredible insights and lessons learned through these testimonies, views, and conversations of the guests you'll meet this month. But first, I'll share 4 observations that I've learned myself over the years coaching and working with leaders in higher education, including college professors and their senior teams. These experiences also offer insights that any leader in any industry can learn from. Number one, leadership is inherently political and serves diverse constituencies. Every move a college or university president makes is scrutinized, not just internally, but often publicly. They have to navigate competing pressures from all kinds of groups: trustees, faculty, students, alumni, unions, and the broader community, each with their own interests and expectations. Progress requires constant alignment, the patience to facilitate compromise, and the courage to make sometimes difficult and unpopular decisions. Now, this is true, of course, for any leader. People aren't only listening to what you say, they're watching what you do. Credibility comes from listening authentically, honoring what matters to your stakeholders, creating buy in along the way, skillfully influencing, and at the end of the day, making the best decisions you can with the information you have. Okay, number two, leaders must build an environment where people can thrive. Universities are, by definition, places of growth and inquiry. Faculty expect academic freedom. Staff want a sense of purpose, and students arrive believing that their voices will matter. A higher education leader must balance structure with openness, creating space where people can truly flourish while still keeping the institution stable and financially sound. Now, whether you're leading a company, a non for profit, or a startup, the best leaders know it's not just about results, it's about building environments where people feel safe to speak up, experiment, and grow. Because, of course, thriving people create thriving organizations. Okay, number three, communication is really the lifeblood of leadership. In higher education, communication is constant. Speeches, trustee meetings, campus wide emails, donor updates, faculty forums, media interviews, government relations, and so it goes. A president who communicates poorly risks not just confusion, but actually active mistrust. The way information is shared often defines the quality of your leadership. The best strategy in the world doesn't matter at all if people don't understand it, don't believe it, or don't know their role in carrying it out. Number four, honoring tradition while also driving change. Colleges and universities sometimes carry centuries of history and rituals that shape identity and belonging. And at the same time, higher education leaders are really expected to innovate, modernize, and prepare students for a rapidly changing future. And this tension between honoring the past and moving boldly into the future is one of the hardest balancing acts for any president and their staff. Other leaders also face legacy systems, longstanding values, or quote unquote, the way things have always been done. You've heard that one before. The best leaders don't, of course, dismiss tradition outright, nor do they let it hold them back. They learn how to respect what's come before while also inspiring confidence in what's coming next. In most industries, success is measured in clear numbers: profits, growth, market share. In higher education, the outcomes are harder to quantify. Like, how do you measure the spark of curiosity in a student, the resilience built through a debate, or the long term impact of a graduate who goes on to lead in their community or on the world stage? This is what makes leadership in higher education uniquely difficult and kind of fun, too. Presidents and their teams are making decisions today in the middle of turbulence and change without the comfort of immediate measurable results. And yet, that is also what makes higher education leadership so powerful to learn from. Because while other leaders chase quarterly targets, leaders in higher education are shaping something far more enduring: global citizens who contribute to the world, hopefully in part by what they learn through their academic experience. Okay, finally, I want to introduce you very shortly and quickly to the three amazing guests I'm going to have on the show this month who will help us unwind and make sense of all of this. Okay, so first we're going to talk to Gwen Freed, who is the new president of the Minneapolis College of Art and Design. So, with a career spanning leadership roles across higher ed, non for profits, and the arts, in our conversation, Gwen opens up about her leadership journey, what it means to step into a presidency at such a turbulent time, and how creative disciplines shape the way leaders approach problem solving and innovation. We'll also talk about the lessons she's learned that apply far beyond higher education. Next, I'm going to sit down with Elliot Felix, who was my very first guest on Transformative Leadership Conversations 5 years ago this December. Elliot is a strategist, designer, and author who has spent his career helping over 100 colleges and universities rethink the student experience. He founded and grew Bright Spot Strategy, which is where I started working with him, now part of Burrow Happold, and his upcoming book, The Connected College, dives into how leaders can break down silos, lead with empathy, and put students at the center. And our conversation goes beyond higher ed. We'll explore the leadership lessons that any organization can take when designing systems and services around the people that they serve. And then lastly, we have a special episode planned with Gerard Beenan, who is a professor of management at Cal State Fullerton, while also teaching at UC Irvine and Carnegie Mellon. He's a scholar of workplace motivation and leadership who brings decades of business and academic experience, from being a healthcare CEO to consulting at Bain and E&Y. And in this bonus episode, Gerard and I take you inside his own MBA classroom at Carnegie Mellon, where students reflect on how their views of leadership are shifting because of their program. Together, we connect their insights to leadership theories and explore what all of us can learn from the next generation of leaders. Leadership in higher education is really under unprecedented pressure, political, financial, cultural. But the truth is, leaders in every industry are feeling some of that same pressure. This series is about naming those challenges out loud and creating space for the honest conversations we need to have right now. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Transformative Leadership Conversations. If you're ready to take your leadership to the next level or empower your teams for success, I'm here to help. Reach out to me directly at winnie@winifred.org or check out my website at www.winniedasilva.com to learn more about my work in coaching executives, developing critical leadership skills, and working with clients to build effective teams. You can also find me on Substack and LinkedIn, and now on YouTube. Because you are always welcome to take a seat at the table where every conversation has the potential for transformative change.